All right, cyber traders, welcome on back here this Thursday, September 8th. It's been a nice market day and a much more active day trade day here, at least this Thursday, compared to yesterday. Great to see students like Michael, Roger, Andre. Great to see all of us rejoining us live here in the Cyber Group room, and great to see all of us back on social media, Facebook Live, YouTube. So, I just said before, right? Like it's been a much more active market day today, not just because we've had the crazy Pixie stock from pre-market, no, but there's been a bunch of different trades that have been moving on up very nicely, whether it be because of the market moving up or otherwise for news of its own. So right now we have one of those stocks on the screen here, Ruby. Now, this one ended up kind of just taken over by storm, right? I mean, it ended up just popping right after the market opened up. We did not have this on the pre-market or morning watch list. It wasn't looking that great in pre-market there, but ended up making a beautiful move afterwards, and we were able to take full advantage of this trade. I think Fausto was really early to the draw on this one after the market opened up. From there, Grant was calling it out off of $1.08, and then from there, in and out, a bunch of us were able to get in. I saw Kathleen get 14 cents on this. She was in from 108. I saw John get 16 cents. He was in from even earlier off of 96 cents. So, it just goes to show it. I mean, like a lot of different things here, but we were on top of this early, ended up catching the majority of this move. And then, B, otherwise, this is still holding really strong heading into this time of the day here, right? You still have resistance off of that 150. There is a pretty decent sized order here, but I'd still expect 150 to be the bigger of the two levels. So, between 146, 150. But otherwise, Ruby, we'll just go ahead and put this right on the top of our list here so far. Now, Jeff, otherwise, with the great call out inside the Cyber Group room here, one of the other trades that are still moving up right now, ended up making a big squeeze after the market opened up. I'll tell you what, the reason why my day yesterday sucked so bad was because I was expecting this exact move just yesterday. So I was kind of like drawn into the possibility of the breakout higher here yesterday. And I ended up taking a few losses on this stock and alongside other trades yesterday altogether wasn't really my best performance. But hey, it doesn't mean that I'm an insane person for thinking that, right? Look what happened today, obviously. This stock was coming off of, phase 3 clinical trial news from Tuesday. We were talking about this. Ray, right away here. I don't know if Ray S., one of our gold students, is in this trade right now, but it made a squeeze from the market open. We were following it all throughout the day. Even as a short, remember, we were calling out the historical resistance off of 1675 to 1685, that, range. Well, that held damn nicely, and that led to a beautiful drop. Great short as it was a long from the morning, but ended up bouncing from 16. I ended up getting out on the last half of that short position. I was in from 1682 short, and I got out on the last half of my position as it was moving up here. So I just got out to take the money. But then I flipped my script and I said, well, hey, if this is going to, hold over the VWAP, and if it, holds support off of 1630, that's what I was most recently calling out on this trade throughout the early afternoon. I was saying that we could find some good support at 1630. I wrote that at 12:47 Eastern time there in the chat. So with saying that, it held support perfectly right from that point. Ended up leading to the next leg up here on this trade. I ended up taking half my position out. I believe it was at 1669, and then I kept the second half. So I'm still in on the second half of this trade. Jeff, anyone in on this ISEE trade right now with me? Maybe Jeff, maybe Ray, a couple of us otherwise from the chat board. Let me know if you're currently in on this stock, ISEE. I'll put this on our watch list as well, alongside the Ruby trade. I did not trade really Ruby as much. I was all about the ISEE today. Hopefully there's a lot more, though, if you're not in. Jeff says no, it's all right. Let's see if there's more room here, if it could hold over 17 or maybe break under and right back over that price. But for right now, we're looking really good on this stock. Now, aside from that, we did end up trading the Pixie trade. This thing was like, a crazy run up in pre-market, ended up holding this support line here at like 1650-ish, 1658, but made the huge run up after. You knew that this was going to dump off at some point, folks. You knew it. I mean, for as much as this ran up in pre-market, it was up over like 120%. So ended up making a big pullback after a pop from the market open. And, there's a couple of plays where we could have scalped it. I did miss out on like really the only part of this that I wanted to jump into. I think it was right here. I was looking to jump in. I jumped in. I jumped out fast. And I said, even on 100 shares, like, I was still in on the ISEE trade and just trying to figure that out still. And I don't want to juggle too many bowling pins in the air at the same time. So unfortunately, I was correct with looking for support here. I just wasn't in it when it ran up. But yeah, ended up dropping right back down. It's not really doing much of anything here at this point, the Pixie trade. Don't get stuck trying to hold on to a stock like this, folks. Just remember, look at all these trades that we've had from the last month or so. HKD, look at where it's at now. AMTD, look at where it's at now. INDO, MGAM. My platform's going to freeze up from going through this so fast. MEGL, you name it, right? Don't get stuck holding. Now, at that, though, maybe tomorrow, next week, some point, maybe, possibly, who knows? Pixie could be a good day trade again. For right now, though, we're going to scratch it. I'll tell you, the AMLX, I thought was going to make a decent bounce throughout the morning. I was looking for it right off of 28, and then it ended up breaking below there a little bit and just chopped around there for a little while. So I moved on from it pretty early afterwards. But yeah, I mean, right now it's still kind of chopping around. It's like teasing us here for the most part. So, if it ends up making a bigger move here during this meeting, I'll call it out. I'll possibly put it on our list there, but we'll look to see if there's anything moving better right now at this time. A stock that's moving with the S&P perhaps, SPY still near that 400 price, or otherwise, again, we have an ISEE trade, we have Ruby, both of those are incredible so far. All right, let's see what else we got here, folks. We had the Blue Apron trade. I'll skip to that there briefly. Blue Apron still grinding on up. Keyword there would be grinding on up because, ended up just popping before, made a good squeeze at first. But, aside from the steady trend, it's been like chugging away. It's not really making the most volatile pop that you'd want to have. I mean, this has a very liquid book, so it's very tradable for most of us here. I'm going to put this on our watch list for right now. We ended up doing really well on Blue Apron back from yesterday and just really over the last month at this point, on and off variously. Normally, this has had a thinner book when it's made these plays here, these squeezes up. So it's actually a lot more refreshing for me to see, at least a tighter spread, more orders out there, some icebergs here at 775 and 780. So, looks like a good trade so far. We have Lyft. We had called out Lyft earlier from the morning from the initial pop after the market open. It's been really moving well, better across the afternoon, in my opinion, compared to like even here. Steady trend, but much like the other one there, the Blue Apron, it's like chugging along. It's going to make a bit of a pullback at some point. So ended up doing so, but led to a cleaner bounce. And right now, I guess you can say that momentum died off briefly, but for right now, I have no problem putting that Lyft trade on our list. All right, let's see what else we got here, folks. Across the gainer side here, of course, with the market moving up, perhaps a bit of a move back up on Bitcoin. And with that, we have like all of these Bitcoin mining affiliates like Hut and Riot, Mara a little bit lower. I know one of us had called out Riot earlier. Hey, it's moving up pretty nicely, right? This is where at least my experience can come in handy, folks. And if I'm wrong today, it would be a very rare occasion for me to be wrong with the following here. I'm wrong a lot, but with the following I'm about to say, it's very, very little that I'm wrong on this. So these crypto miners, Riot, Mara, Hut, that we'll look at in a moment, if they're up this 12, 13% at this point in the day, it's very rare that they really continue to accelerate higher. Is it possible it moves up to like 750, 755 from this point? Maybe, but normally these stocks don't make that big run, into the close. See this go from here up to 8 or higher. I'm not expecting that on this. So, for right now, it looks like a beautiful chart, beautiful intraday chart. Don't get me wrong. But for right now, I'm going to play the odds from my experience and at least say with these crypto miners like, Hut, Riot, Mara, I don't know about Coinbase. We'll check in on that if need be. But, those for right now, good looking charts, but I'm not expecting a whole lot more left on those trades. If they do give it to us, then we'll call it out should it pop over 750. But let's see if there's anything with a better chance of making that pop. SLQT, it's at the highs. It's at the highs right now. It's actually breaking multi-day highs here, day over day. The issue on this is that it's just got some bigger orders for it to try and cut through if it really wants to make that continuated pop, like we were just talking about. So, this one's not like a big Bitcoin stock, or whatever, but at least as far as I know. But it's just the heavy liquidity on the ask here. It makes me think that it's not going to give us as good of a shot. Now, on the other side of that, we have Nerve. Nerve has a pretty thin book, and it's still holding strong near the high. So, that gives it much less volume to cut through if it wants to make that clean pop. But this is almost too illiquid here. I mean, we've seen this trade much better volume on the order book, just namely over the last 2-3 weeks. So, again, I'll write this down for the side list, but I'll come back to it at the end if I need to. All right. So with that, I think that just about wraps up the gainer side for right now, folks. There could be one or two more that I may be forgetting, which actually I will jump to those and actually right now. Viru, I just went break even on this trade during the meeting. Like as we started the meeting, I ended up just getting stopped out right at my own entry price at 12.57. I tried to make the squeeze up here. I was calling out 100,000+ share print that got filled right off of 12.55, and once it broke under and back over that price, I jumped in long, ran up pretty nicely, but again, it didn't make that big move that you would want to see. If it makes that move coming up, I feel like I have time, from this point forward. So I ended up getting stopped out right at my entry price. Actually, when it started to squeak up here a little bit when I started the meeting, I was like, I hope this doesn't really move without me, but I didn't really miss out on too much sense. So, Viru is still at the highs here. It's just a little sluggish right now. I'll put this on our main list, though. We're very familiar with this trade. It's shortable, so if this breaks below 12.55, this could provide as a nice short opportunity. So just be on the lookout for that. Little shake here on the S&P and the SPY. I could see that just from my 5-minute chart. SPY dropping right from 400. A little false break over 400 right there and dropped off a little bit. It's not too surprising. All right, so let's hop over to the losers list right now, see if there's anything looking just as good, from that side. I wouldn't expect for there to be a whole lot on the loser side on a day like today, aside from inverse ETFs, perhaps. I know Michael was calling out Dave & Buster's play, so obviously I'll take a look at that. It's a stock that we've done well on more from the beginning of the pandemic, right? But otherwise, today, coming off bad earnings from the post market yesterday, led to a big drop after the market opened up. The order book is a tiny bit thin, but it seems like the spread's controllable, right? 2-cent, 3-cent spread here and there. Maybe a tiny bit more if it opens up, but it's making a good trend down to that 38 again. I like this trade as a short. We'll see. Just trade on smaller shares. It's not the least expensive stock that we normally look for. So it's not the most expensive either, but just given the thinner liquidity, I personally would be trading a little less shares on this, probably a half size position at first. All right, what else we got? What else we got here, folks? Again, I wouldn't expect for there to be a whole lot on the loser side here, right? Familiar name, good old CSIQ. Good old friend CSIQ here. Ended up making a nice drop off after the open. Not a whole lot to it there. There never really was a whole lot to CSI. I felt like, it was like a trade back like 8 years ago. But Carol, and very unfortunate news being posted in our trading room right now. Queen Elizabeth, it seems like, just getting chat from one of our members here saying that she just unfortunately passed away. So obviously that's something that could potentially affect the markets. And that's not the first thing I think about when I think about Queen Elizabeth, right? But of course, here we're doing this meeting. God bless, right? With that, we'll see what happens across the afternoon. But that's very, very unfortunate to hear, Carol. Hi. All right, folks. Hey, let me know if there's anything else, left or right, up or down that you want me to look at here. Michael says Array making a big shake. Let me go from top to bottom actually first. From John saying TDCX. Nah, this one's not tradable. Array making a big shake. It is. It's down, that near 5%. That's right at the lows. It's a good stock to consider. It is pretty liquid as well. Good spreads at least. And it's liquid enough. You know what, Mike? I like this one. We'll put this on our main list here. We just get to the social media streams, Facebook Live, YouTube, see if there's any comments from there. Got one chat here on stock AERC, and that's a former runner too. So we'll take a look at the daily chart more than anything. I mean, it looks like a thin traded stock, not just from the order book, but it was really spotty across the afternoon. It's trying to make a move up right now. What I like about this, if anything, it's trading over 1 million shares at this point. It's up decent, cheap stock. The spread is not bad. The order book it will be a little thin, but it's a good spread for right now. Former runner AERC. We ended up doing really well on this stock, not back from July or August, back from early June. Ended up seeing the stock pop from like 4 up to like 25, near 30. So, looking at it right now where it stands, it's hard to ignore it. All right, folks, that just about wraps it up for me here, I believe. I got to jump onto a coaching call with one of our students here coming up at the top of the hour. Otherwise, I know that Rich will be on the mic himself here inside the trading room at the top of the hour at 3 p.m. Eastern time. All right. For all of us on social media, Facebook Live, YouTube, I appreciate you folks sticking with us each and every day. For myself, each and every afternoon. Any questions that you have, feel free to forward over to josh@ctutrading.com. I wrote back to a bunch of us between last night into this morning. If you have any questions, let me know. If you're interested in joining our live trading room, that is. Of course, for all of us on YouTube, Facebook Live, just go right down to the link on the yellow banner below right there, the stream, to get yourself started. But for all of us otherwise, I'll be in the chat board at least. I'll be trading with one of our students, Roger, from 3 to 3:30. Hopefully we catch a nice runner here, whether it be on AERC or any of the others we have on our list so far. But I'll keep the commentary going through the chat board. Rich will be on the mic coming up at 3 p.m. Talk to you soon.
Become a Cyber Group member today. Just click the link below and receive all these amazing products and a world of knowledge for just $9.